Let's get this synced up. There's a cockroach right there on my FPV bag. That is awesome, guys. That is super awesome. Okay, what the man? Cockroach right here. That is so disgusting. One of the flashiest tricks in FPV has got to be the JUiCY flick. It's just such a satisfying maneuver, and today we're gonna learn it together step by step. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sana FPV, bringing you weekly FPV videos from vlogs, freestyle edits, reviews, etc. This is my first tutorial, so bear with me. If you enjoy it, give me a like, maybe throw me a subscribe. It really helps me out with the algorithm, so let's get right into it.
But Sana, I don't want to support you in any way. I just want to watch the tutorial, dude. So can I do that?
Yes, if you want to do that, just skip to this chapter or this timestamp in the video where I will have a nice overlay. Look at this nice ass overlay.
And I even have some arrows in here to show you like exactly how this maneuver goes down. If you want to see like how I would go about learning this trick from scratch, from what I would do in the sim and sort of talking about the trick in general, what it is, and even playing with my drone, stick around. Really quick disclaimer, guys, this video is like a learn to JUiCY flick with me, kind of like a vlog style. So I'm going to be simming, we're going to be going out, and I'm vlogging myself doing all of this. I'm going to try to be technical with the trick, but if you just want to learn the trick without some bozo like me talking, go to Headmaster's account on YouTube. This guy is the GOAT of tutorials. I've learned all of my tricks from him, and even Joshua Bardwell subscribes to his Patreon. So just throwing it out there, if you just want the best possible tutorial, watch him.
All right, you guys, so if you can do these two things, you can JUiCY flick. It might take a little bit of practice, and I'll show you exactly how to get it down on your first session. So a JUiCY flick is basically a half flip and then a half roll. Okay, so as long as you can do a front flip and a 360-degree roll, you can JUiCY flick. So the way I learned to JUiCY flick was just by practicing these two maneuvers separately and then bringing them together. Obviously, doing it in sim is going to save you a lot of crash quads, potentially a lot of money. So we're gonna jump into the sim with a stick cam and show that. It also helps if you do it in front of an obstacle, or over an obstacle rather, so that when you do the flip, you can keep this in the center of the frame, which is going to make your shot look extra juicy. What type of quad is easiest to JUiCY flick? A
Bigger quad or like a micro whoop?
In my opinion, bigger quads are going to be easier to JUiCY flick because they have a lot more inertia and fling. So going over an object, getting that flip and roll to be sort of snappy but also slow and juicy is going to be a lot easier when you have that fling and momentum to play with. It's harder to pull this off on a micro quad because you really have to be on the sticks a lot sooner. All right, really quick, guys, as I get the sim going on here, I am running Radiomaster Pocket with AG01 gimbals, so obviously you can do this on any radio, but this is what I'm using and what I learned on. This is my daily driver. Here we are in game. This is the first time I've done a setup like this, so hopefully all these pieces are able to sync up and work together. First thing you're gonna wanna be able to do is a half front flip. So this is going to be done by simply pitching forward with the right stick and then back. Your goal is going to be to keep the horizon level here. So you want to be able to just do it with one clean motion and have a level horizon every single time. This is going to be essential when we move into actually putting the JUiCY flick together. So you can see that one was a little bit early that I left off on the stick. Let's try it again here. Pretty good, that's gonna be good enough. And then the other thing we're gonna wanna practice, half rolls. So this is a little bit trickier, and it's actually not quite as essential as the half flip in my opinion. So again, we're not really focusing on obstacles right now. We just want to get that half roll. That was pretty good. All right, you guys, so now let's actually try and put these two together. And I find the coolest way to do this is if you do it above an obstacle, because that way when you finish the trick, or on the second half of the trick when you're sort of coming out of it, you keep that obstacle in the center of the screen. It's gonna make it look extra juicy and clean. So we'll try this one. And again, micros are a little bit harder to nail this with, which is why I'm showing you guys with micros, because if you can do it with a micro, I think you can do it with a larger quad. So here we go. We're just gonna put these two together. Very horrible JUiCY flick, but that's how it's sort of gonna be at the start. But we're gonna get used to it as we keep going. So let's just keep trying this obstacle. That one was a little bit better. The idea is you want a fast first half and a slow JUiCY second half. So we're gonna come up, quick flip, and then a slower roll. And you really have to be on the throttle to get enough fling to sort of keep that going forward momentum. So that was a little bit too slow on the roll there. Go ahead and reset. Got a little vibration from bent props. Getting better, getting a little bit better. All right, guys, I reset the quad. We're gonna try over this monkey bars right here. Okay, so we've switched maps. We are on this floating platform thing here. So one thing that you can practice when you're doing this maneuver is finding a point that you're gonna wanna keep in the center of your frame throughout the whole maneuver. So let's do this little bar right here, this little sort of vertical bar that's holding up the railing here. We'll do it on this side. So not perfect, but if you just keep practicing this back and forth on a map like this, you'll at least get the confidence to pull something similar to a JUiCY FLiCK in real life. Starting to finally get the stick timing down a little bit, still not great. So proxy looks really cool when you do JUiCY FLiCKs through something. You sort of started a little bit earlier. Nice juicy one, dude. So let's try it again, proxy. Love that. Okay, starting to get the hang of it on this Mob 6 that I think I'm flying. A little bit sloppy there, but you're getting the point. All right, you guys, so that is about the extent of my JUiCY FLiCK experience with micros. For some reason, it feels a lot harder in liftoff micro drones. I feel like I can sort of get this to be a little bit more flowy in real life with my whoops. But we're gonna check out Uncrashed, which is the simulator that I have the most time in, where I'll fly larger quads, and you can see how it's easier to get that flow with the JUiCY FLiCK. But then we're gonna go outside and try this on my 3" 1S.
All right, guys, Future Sauna here really quick before we get into Uncrashed. I just want to let you know that my face cam died, so no GoPro face cam on this sim time, and I had to turn on my AC because I was sweating here in San Diego. Let's go. So something I like to do is approach the obstacle that you're going to JUiCY FLiCK from a little bit below, and then at the last second, you're gonna blip the throttle and JUiCY FLiCK it just like that, and it's so much easier already on a bigger quad like this. Just there's so much more fling. So you can see, we'll try it again, approach it from a little bit below, and then last second blip it, and that's what it's gonna look like when you do the entire maneuver too quickly. It looks like just this sort of like looking down 360 type of thing, which is not a JUiCY FLiCK at all. And now check out this second one that we're going to do through this, but really draw it out. So this is where you can throw sort of your own flair in there. If you wanna do a really fast flip and then keep the roll going like really juiced out, you can do that. It's going to be really difficult on a small quad, but on a big one, totally doable. All right, so another place I like to do JUiCY FLiCKs is just low to the ground, even over no obstacles, or maybe over like a line or a shadow or something. So it just shows good throttle control, and I think it adds to a lot of different types of lines. So you can see not the juiciest of JUiCY FLiCKs there, but we can keep trying it low to the ground. And then I want to show you a way that you can exit it. So you can see once I do the JUiCY FLiCK, let's flip the throttle and go over maybe this line coming up or a shadow here. And you'll see over the line, boom, and then I keep yawing in that same direction. So in that case, I'm yawing to the right. But I actually like to sometimes misdirect the JUiCY FLiCK. So you do it, and then at the last second, instead of yawing to the right like that, you're actually gonna yaw to the left. And with stabilization, this looks really cool. So let's try that maybe over a different obstacle over here. You can see kind of how it looks. So one more time, right as you're going to exit the JUiCY FLiCK and keep going forward, you're just going to go the opposite direction to what feels sort of natural, and you'll get that nice little redirect.
We're at the park right now, and this is where I'm going to show you the IRL JUiCY FLiCK with the stick cam.
It is so crowded, and I have so much anxiety about flying when people are around me. Not because I'm gonna hit them, but like...
Dude, I don't know.
Just like wearing the goggles, I think someone's gonna come rob me. By the way, guys, this is what I'm flying, so not the easiest thing to JUiCY FLiCK because it is a 1S and it doesn't have that fling and inertia that I was talking about earlier, but I can get it down on this thing, so this is just like the best thing to fly when it's crowded. Let's do it. Let's get this synced up. There's a cockroach right there on my FPV bag. That is awesome, guys. That is super awesome. Okay, what the man? Cockroach right here, that is so disgusting.
Okay, Future Sauna here. This is just part of my flight that we will dissect in a minute here. Once I find a good JUiCY FLiCK, then we're gonna go full on screen with arrows. Let's go.
A little bit of juice there, not bad. There's fucking like things falling from the tree, cockroaches on my leg.
Okay, so let's check this out overlaid and at 35% speed. So you can see, watch the right stick here, bang it all the way to the end and then pull it back to the middle. At the same time, you're doing a sort of diagonal roll with that stick. So check this out. I think this will really help for the right stick. I've got an arrow coming up on screen. So you're going to boom, push up, and then switch your direction to the right and slightly down. You're gonna end at about the midpoint and then you're gonna center the sticks. One more time, right stick only, even slower. Now, I think the idea here is that you start the slide on the top of the gimbal once the horizon is level. So you can see I did it too early here, and we'll check out a better example after. One more time with arrows on the left side now, you can see we're going to give it a tiny little blip, then immediately cut, and then we slowly bring it back to center. But I want you to see like how little of a blip it is. It's literally like one notch on the gimbal markings and then immediately down all the way, banging it to the bottom. All right, let's dissect another one. This is another decent one that I got.
There we go, happy with that one.
Let's check this out again, 30% speed. So watch the stick movements. It's basically happening simultaneously. As soon as I start that pitch on the right stick, the pitch forward, the left stick cuts throttle. The entire maneuver is done at 0 throttle, and when the horizon starts to get level on your goggles, that's when you're gonna bring the throttle back up on the left. So this is where you guys can play around with how long and drawn out you want the maneuver to be. You see, I actually start the roll earlier than the horizon being level, but if you want it really juiced out, then you will wait for that pitch to come all the way down for the horizon to be level, and then you'll start the roll. Just an opinion thing. I think that they look really great either way. Enjoy this little freestyle line from the exact same session before the outro, just showcasing a few ways you can utilize JUiCY FLiCKs into your lines above flat ground.
All right, you guys, just recorded a whole outro, but the mic was not recording, so we're doing it again. I gotta get out of here because it's just too crowded, but the cool thing about this 3-inch 1S is that no one even knew I was flying, honestly. Like, no one said a thing, and people were walking right by me and getting super close to the quad, so that's cool. This was kind of a learn to JUiCY FLiCK with me rather than just a straight up tutorial, because clearly I'm not that consistent on them, and I can really get a lot better on 1S with them, or like smaller quads that have less fling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, or at least were able to learn a little something. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button. If you feel so inclined, smash that like, it really helps me out. And I've got a lot more fun stuff planned. I got some quad reviews, some more builds. I'm gonna build a 3.5-inch Grinderino, and I have a review on the Flywoo LR4 and even freestyled it a little bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. You're the best, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, and one takeaway from this video, I guess, is that, yeah, never mind, bye.